What's up, y'all? It's Truth Tiger. I'm going to talk about a topic that's different from what I normally talk about. Normally, I'm talking about narcissism or spirituality or, kind of things like that. But I'm going to talk about the real estate market and who is benefiting from this real estate crunch that we're going through where, all across America and it seems like all across the world, housing prices are being just driven sky high, And I will tie this into spirituality. In the book of Revelations, it says it will cost a denarius for a pound of grain, which is like, it's like a week's wages or something like that. Essentially, what it means is that the cost of things will become very expensive. And we're seeing that with a lot of things, especially with real estate. And I'm going to talk about who benefits from it and try to shed some light on why this is happening. So, the first group of people who benefit massively from these overinflated prices are the banks. A mortgage will already, like a 30-year mortgage will probably cost you around 3 times the actual cost of the house if you actually add up the interest, because the interest gets added on like year after year after year. And on something like a car where you're paying it out over 5 years, it doesn't add up to be that much. But on a house where you're paying it out over 30 years, like do the math. It's like you'll end up paying about 3 times more than the cost of the house itself. And yeah, there's inflation and stuff, but inflation's not that high. And, more expensive houses mean that the banks are going to make much more money, off of these mortgages. If housing prices are doubled, then, the banks will make double the amount of money. So, yeah. And then the next group of people is going to be local municipal governments. Local municipal governments collect property taxes. Where I live, property taxes are around 1%. They vary based on where you live, but if you have a $500,000 house and you're paying 1% yearly, that's $5,000 a year. So local governments are filling their coffers. And if you think about a place like LA or San Francisco or somewhere like, or Seattle where I live, like if the housing prices double, then the tax dollars double. And it's 100% within the interest of local governments to have very expensive housing because now you got all this tax money rolling in. And the next group of people is the real estate industry itself, Realtors make around 5% commission off a house, So again, if housing prices double, that's double commissions, And, to expound on that, it's like the more sales and transactions happen, the better. If people are living in their house for 20, 30 years on average, that's not good for the real estate industry. Hey, it's not good for the banks either, The banks can't sell you a new mortgage either. The local government doesn't really care. They're collecting their property taxes, but for the real estate industry, they want you buying a new house every 5 years, because they get commission on the new house you buy, and they get commission on the house that you sell. And the thing about the real estate industry, and I'm not an insider on this or anything like that, but like if you go to a car lot to buy a car, you'll see some little manipulations, some little games, some little tricks, whatever. Those same tricks and games are being played in the real estate market, just on a much, much higher level and on something much more expensive and on something much more, consequential. So they're playing all kinds of crazy games. I was watching a guy, Louis Rossman, pretty popular YouTuber, and he's in New York, and there's this, store in Manhattan, and it's some kind of a gift shop or something like that, and it's got a for lease sign outside, despite the fact that it already has tenants living in it, or tenants using it as a storefront. and they're trying to charge like, 75,000 a month. And you look at this store, there's no way the store profits 75,000 a month. So essentially what they figured out is the current tenants are just kind of paying whatever they can to the landlords, and they're going to kind of get out nice and right quick if they're able to snag someone who's able to pay this 75,000 a month. So it's all a big shell game. And they're doing this with housing, they're doing it in commercial real estate, whatever it is, apartments, they're doing this everywhere to just try to get the prices jacked up as much as possible. I don't know the ins and outs of how they play these games to raise the prices, but they're playing a lot of games and doing a lot of manipulation and doing a lot of tricks to figure out ways to, get these prices higher. And then the secondary groups that I would say benefit off this, the first is going to be landlords. And like if you watch another video, it's going, the landlords, and yeah, they do benefit off this, but they're still subject to property tax. They're still subject to mortgages. They're subject to, maintaining the property. They're subject to dealing with bad tenants. They're subject to all this stuff, that they're subject to. So I don't think I think those people are definitely winning big, but they're not the big winners. And then obviously there's the construction industry, which is going to be building new houses and new apartment buildings and things like that. Like, they're winning out, but let's say they overbuild and now they can't get people in these apartments or these houses. That could be a problem. Construction, you got to deal with the city and the government and everything, and you got to get and then you got to have laborers, and you got to have equipment, and you got to have subcontractors, and you got to pass safety things, health things. Not a walk in the park, definitely, and they're definitely making a lot of money off this, but I wouldn't say they're the primary winners in this scenario. I think people need to look at the banks, the real estate industry, and the local governments in terms of who's really winning in this. And I think we got to kind of come together as people and figure something out to where we can get a price of a house actually affordable, because we're all going to be pushed out if we don't do this. Like, I live in Seattle, it's expensive where I'm at, but I'm looking at other places like, I don't know, North Carolina or something. I'm like, it's expensive there too. Holy crap, Atlanta's expensive. I'm like, man, like, everywhere you go now, they're just jacking the prices up as much as possible, So, yeah. So this was just a different video than what I normally would make. Actually, real quick, there is a tie-in to narcissism here, There's a lot of narcissism in corporate America, a lot of narcissism in the banks, narcissism in the real estate industry, and it's a lot of narcissists are very greedy, and the narcissist is going to try to get as much money for themselves as possible. And the thing with narcissists is it's like, it's not enough. Like, in your own life, it's like you found that you got to just leave them. What you do is never going to be enough. And then same for the narcissists at the top of society. They're never going to have enough money. They're never going to have enough power. They're never going to have enough influence. They're going to steal everything from us common people until we're broken on the street and we have nothing. They're going to take everything from us. So I think it is a time where we have to figure out a way to either get out from this stuff or fight back against it, or I don't know what to do exactly. But, we need to take some stand against, this government, corporation, industry. It's the Matrix, it's the Matrix. It's 666, and we got to make a stand against it. We have to figure something out here. I don't have any ideas quite yet, but we got to figure something out so that we can actually have a decent world to live in, and that we can afford things, and things don't just become super overpriced, and the world doesn't just become a big hellhole. So yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate everybody's viewership. And I will see you all next time.